I'll get that picture off so you can see, well, what the real me looks like today. It's probably not much better, I'll be honest. Won't be much better. There you go. How are you, folks? Hope you're having a bloody good Friday. I was feeling a bit crook yesterday. I had every intention of doing a show last night, but by 6:30 last night, I was a dribbling mess. Eyes, nose, sneezes, coughing, carrying on. Thought I was going to be down for days. Woke up this morning and I'm fine. There you go. Been a bloody big week, folks. A bloody big week. So congratulations again to our Limerick winners, to Will and Kay, who picked up the first prize, and to our runners-up as well, who've all done magnificently. And there are so many of you who've had a great crack. So I can't thank you enough for that. From that, a lot of interesting things have cropped up. And nothing much to tell you about at the moment, but baby steps. But hopefully, in the very near future, there will be many things to tell you. That is the plan, and not just tell you, but have you sharing. That is the goal, because this is about us, folks. It's always been about us, and Voice of Freedom is your voice, and as much as mine. And if you're happy to use your voice, then I want to give you the platform to do it. That's how it all works. And as we are such a family, thank you to Sunflower for being first in the room tonight. And God love you. She drives this family that we have in this room here. She and others, including Suze. And should have muted my phone. Or is this people telling me they can't hear me? Oh, no. Jeff, I'll have to call you back. Give me a moment. So, g'day, Paul. Hello, Ange. Hello, Debs. Hello, Michelle. Kirsten's in the room. Vince, the legend that is our IT specialist. Hello, buddy, and I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been off your feet a little bit the last couple of weeks. I've tried really hard not to hassle you, except at the really last minute when things are, always at their most dire. So thanks, mate, for everything that you do, and I'm glad that you're back on your feet a little bit, brother. That's good news. Scott, Dan, Neil, I think I said hello to Ange and Paul already. G'day to Phil. Hope you are doing all right, brother, and staying warm down that part of the world. I think you're down where I think you are at the moment, so if you're down that way, stay bloody warm. Mr. Bergwerf is in the house. You've got some big news. Well, I'll send you an invite and you can come on and tell me. Would you like to do that? You don't ring me anymore. Bugger you. But I'm being a bitch. Don't worry. He does ring me. He's just been very busy. So hang on. I'll send it to your Gmail address, Darren, and links on the way. So when you get it, you can just pop in. All good. Be good to catch up. So obviously some big news coming from my place. It could be in regards to all sorts of things. It's always interesting when I have no idea what people are going to say when they come on the show. But anyway, we'll see how it is. Chris, nice to see you in the room. And I love people who refer to us, well, not so much the legends, but of the great southern land. That just hits me. And Ivor Davies should be rated right up there with the next potential Australian national anthem, in my opinion, that song. Absolutely brilliant. Who else we got in? Vulcan Aussie. Neville. Veronique is in the house. Jindalee, Dan, Salty. Who else have we got? Starseeds. Chris, I hope you're doing all right, mate. I've left you a couple of messages. You never ring me back. Don't ring me now. I'm talking. Andrea, Murray, Dan, Shelley. Yeah, I think I've said everybody who's got in already. So hello, everybody who is already in. Interesting things happening this week, and more particularly this weekend. If you happen to be in the Coffs Harbour region or you're feeling the urge to go for a bit of a drive, from Brisbane, I suspect it's about four hours, give or take the traffic going through Reedy Creek on the Gold Coast. And there is a big event lined up this weekend in Coffs, Saturday and Sunday, with a whole pile of speakers. Now, I was meant to be one on Sunday afternoon, but we're not going to be there Sunday afternoon, so unfortunately can't do that. But John Wilson and I will be travelling down tomorrow morning very early, so this show isn't going to go terribly long tonight, folks. I've got to go and pack a bit of gear and get a bit of beauty sleep, and we're heading off tomorrow morning fairly early to be down. I believe there is a huge market day and festival happening alongside this event. So it gets underway from 10 o'clock in the morning. And I believe that the conference portion of the afternoon, the speeches, if you like, will get underway from around 3 o'clock. And there is a fairly large list of speakers going through until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't worry, you will be able to get up and have a break if you so desire. So John Wilson speaks, I think it's between 5 and 6 o'clock from memory, and I'll be floating around all day. I love the markets, so I'm going to wander around with a GoPro, and we'll take a bit of footage, and I might do a live. If I do lives, they will be only on the Nun2K YouTube channel. So if you are watching anything else at the moment and you want to get something off the phone tomorrow, then you'll have to go onto the YouTube channel Nun2K, N-U-N-N, the letter 2, the number K, and those things go straight from the phone straight to that. So I don't have the ability to stream it to different places at the same time, and I'm not sure that my phone logs into the Rumble account. So if I can figure out how to get it to log into the Rumble account, I will sort that out, and we'll do some lives to Rumble as well. But I think it'll be a beautiful day. With a bit of luck, I'll be able to link the GoPro to the camera, so you won't have to look at my ugly head. I'll be able to show you some of the goings on around the markets, and get some of the locals. If you're interested, come find me. We'll have a talk. Very keen to find out what are the issues for the people on the Central Coast, and I know there are many. And there's a big community of freedom fighters there. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. So too, very, very much on Sunday. So if you can make it, folks, doesn't matter which way you're coming, whether you're coming from the north, from the south, or from the west, we will look forward to seeing you there. And I know that there are some very special people in our lives who are turning up tomorrow. I don't think I have seen them in the chat tonight so far, but there are some folks coming up from down in the Hunter Valley, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them all. It'll be great. So we'll catch up at the event. We might nip out for dinner. We might even wind up having breakfast the next day yet. Who knows? It's Coffs Harbour. We could go crazy. I don't know what that means in Coffs Harbour. If anybody's got Rusty Crow's phone number, he's got a farm. He knows a bit about going crazy at times, so he might be able to point us in the right direction. I have a sneaking suspicion my going crazy days are a little far behind me at the moment. So hang on. Now, Darren. Oh, right. Now you want me to send it to a different one. Okay. Great. All right, folks, you're going to have to bear with me here because I am a typical bloke, as you know, and sending emails and talking at the same time can be pretty difficult. Turns out I have the email address already. So a couple of letters and it's in. So some interesting things going on in Queensland at the moment. I just happened today. The last time I bought a newspaper, I could not tell you, particularly not the Courier Mail. Apparently, they believe it's worth $2.80. I don't know. I've cut 3 stories out of it. The WHO sounds alarm on bird flu outbreaks. This is a ripper. The World Health Organization has warned that recent surge in bird flu outbreaks among mammals could help the virus spread more easily among humans. Now, the operative word in that whole sentence is could. Likelihood, less than a point of a percent, I would have thought. But anyway, any likelihood's a likelihood, hey. Anyway, since late 2021, Europe has been gripped by its worst ever outbreak of bird flu. I wonder if it coincided with the worst ever outbreak of jab disease, because there are many. I've got to be careful about what I say. So, yeah, at any rate, while North and South America have also been experiencing severe outbreaks. I've never heard of it before. Well, not recently. ASN1 is the strain of the virus, and it emerged in 1996. I do remember the first time they tried to scare us with bird flu. Yeah, that would have been probably mid-90s. There's recently been a worrying spike in infections in mammals. Now, this story is either absolute, complete, total bullshit trying to warm you up to a new pandemic or a new crisis, or they are using this to deflect the deaths they're seeing after the jab. Either way, Absolute, complete lies and bullshit. Action on a rent loophole in Queensland. Now, I don't know whether or not other states are experiencing, I know every state is experiencing a rental crisis at the moment, but if your state is experiencing it, it may well be because your real estate agents and property managers, don't we love those bastards, are ensuring that the owner and the agent get two rental increases a year by only giving people 6-month leases. And if they refuse to take the next rental increase, they kick them out and they get, because it's an end of lease. So one of them got caught out in Queensland trying to raise the rent twice inside a 12-month period. Oh, we had Bergworth there for a minute and he's disappeared off. You better get the My Place gerbil to run a bit faster on the wheel of power there to get the modem working. So, some interesting loopholes in that rental agreement. And the minister in Queensland yesterday came out and admitted that this was in fact something that real estate agents had been doing, forcing people out of their property at 6 months and then re-renting it with a rental increase. So that's the game they're playing. I did have an interesting conversation with a person the other day who has 2 rental properties or investment properties. And after hearing what I said about it the other night, they're in 2 different towns. So they went to 2 different property managers. And one of them was very happy to supply all the books and show the deposits from the tenant into the trust account. And the other one wasn't. So guess who's looking for a new agent in that town? So some interesting things going on there, and he has made contact with that client, and it does look like that client was going to be ripped off, and so was the owner. There was going to be a small rental increase. It wasn't going to be anything like 30%. It was something less than 10%, and that was what the owner had agreed. But the property agent and real estate agent decided to do something a little bit different. So anyway, they're working to try and close that in Queensland by making it illegal to put the rent up twice in any 1 year, regardless of how many tenants you run through the joint. I don't think that's going to work either. I don't think that's going to work either. I'll leave the last story. Mr. Bergworth has managed to find his way toward the green room. They must have got the My Place gerbil running its ass off at the moment. How are you, brother?
Yeah, good, Carl. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. So another cold week in Melbourne comes to a close.
Oh, and actually, we had some sun this week. We had 3 days in a row of blue sky, and we're down at the port yesterday, and actually, and they had the chemtrails. So today was back to normal. But my phone went flat actually, just as you were sending the link, so I had to get it plugged in.
No, all good. All right. So big news. I saw you say in the chat.
Yeah, we've got a few things happening at the moment. There's some massive movement in the Indigenous nations getting together. They're getting up around. They've got 250, I think, at the moment that are signed compact agreements to work together, and there's another 140 in the wings. So they're going to be 390 before too much longer.
Right.
And they're all supporting and getting behind Ulukai.
Righto.
So significant stuff there. I'm not sure if you're aware of what he's done when he developed his flag, and I only learnt this a little bit deeper over the last couple of days, the significance of his flag and the chakra colours. And
I've got to be honest, mate, I know very little about him, and on the few occasions where I've asked you to try and hook us up for a chat, he doesn't want to present himself. And I'll be honest, it makes me a bit skeptical. If you're the king of kings, you can't hide behind your gum tree for the rest of your life. You're going to have to come out and talk about this because people will be skeptical.
He is, but once again, he works behind the scenes a lot. He's not out the front until the time's right, I guess. It's like a lot of people. There's a lot of people doing all the work behind the scenes that you don't really see who they are until the time is right. But look, it'll play out how it plays out. I've been following him for a little bit and working closely with him, and Yeah, it's some pretty significant things when you develop a flag. And from what I can gather from the Saturday night event I was at, and the spirit came to him, and told him that he had to develop a flag for the world, for humanity. And you study every flag in the world, and there's only two square ones on the planet, or the dome, and they hold the most power. And one's the church, the Vatican, and the other one's the banks, the Swiss flags. And when you develop your flag and you release it, and they change theirs to rectangles, that's pretty significant in my book. But anyway, that's just one of the things there's a lot of momentum happening around the country. The other one is Wade Northhausen, who's Billboard Battalion, who's been going around Victoria. He's a farmer, spreading the message about exactly what's going on with bureaucracy and how they're screwing our farmers. It's getting worse than ever before. And he's talking at the Dargo pub on Saturday the 22nd, so not tomorrow, but the Saturday after, at 2 p.m. So they're looking for a big turnout. But when you do get down this way again, if there's one pub in this country, or at least in this state, that I suggest we need to go and visit, it is the Dargo pub.
Roger that.
It is one of the best pubs that I've ever been in. So we'll keep that one in the memory bank.
Right. Yep, very good. Well, not too much longer. I'm going to wait till it warms up a bit, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine. I understand that.
I do remember that electric bed. I do remember that electric blanket on your spare bed being very good, though.
Yeah. Oh, they're not good for you, but
no.
But it does have multiple open fires in that pub, as it would in the middle of the bush. An hour out of Bairnsdale.
Yeah.
The other one, and these are only just kind of come up with them, but we're celebrating Australia Day in July, in 2 weeks from today, the 28th.
Right.
Now, this, everyone celebrates Christmas in July, and that's just a thing. And then when I heard about this one, I didn't know too much about it, so I've been doing a bit of research. And apparently, and time will only tell. There'll be skeptics, no doubt, but the fourth Friday in July was our original Australia Day. And this was started with the country women's associations and the work that they did. This started in 1915, when they were in the First World War, under the Red Ensign flag, the land flag. And they started and decided that all the supporting women around Australia would make Friday, the last Friday of the month, Australia Day, and they were there supporting. And it was, I don't know when it was changed to the 26th of January, but originally Australia Day was on the 28th. So we've got an event happening at the Shrine of Remembrance at the King's Domain, at the Eternal Flame, on the Friday the 28th at 10 a.m. So it's some history that has probably been hidden from us, that we start to do a little bit of research. And once again, it goes back to that Red Ensign flag and being anchored to the ground, and not floating lost at sea. So there's a fair bit in this one as well. So it's something that I'm going to start studying and promoting, and I'm certainly going to be there and encouraging all of my players' crew to get down there, and any vets as well, because this knowledge has been hidden from us for a long time. So everyone can do their own research on this, and go back and you look at the Stephen Spears white papers. It's all in there. You listen to Dawn Kelly. There's a lot of information about this. And then none of this was the big news. The big news is we have an issue in this country now that's playing out, where so-called sovereign citizens are being labelled that by the powers to be and police enforcers, and having their weapons seized and their licences removed as unfit persons to hold a licence, a gun licence. Now, this has happened to one of the My Place communities just recently. So there's be a warning out there that these people are on the warpath, and they're stepping the game up. So
that's been a case here in Queensland for some time. If you were identified in any way, shape, or form as being part of the freedom movement and you happen to own a gun license, they would check you off on their system. And I can tell you of at least half a dozen cases of the police turning up and stealing the guns, essentially, or in what most people are doing, if they get some idea that they're coming, they will have their weapons off-site and stored somewhere else at a gun dealer's, and the police can't touch them there. They'll just come through and make sure that you don't have them, and they'll make sure you've got no ammunition or anything like that. There's not much else they can do, but don't let them take your guns, put them with a gun dealer. If you think they're going to come for you, and I suppose in Victoria, they'll start using facial recognition at events and that sort of stuff to try and identify people. And yes, if you have, in fact, I'm 100% sure that in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, they have people sitting there cross-referencing car license plates and the names that pop up on those car license plates and cross-referencing them to gun owners, because they have the ability to do it. It's the push of a button. So they can match that up. Now, okay, if you're the gun owner and Anna's the registered owner of your car, then they're not going to flag you immediately. But if you are, Darren Bergworth, my place, acknowledged, official, you're standing at an event and they decide they want to run your name and find that you have a gun license and you're traveling in that car, then not only will they pull the car over and search it, but then they'll make sure back at your house there's someone waiting to make sure that they can take your weapon off you because you've just been at one of those unapproved rallies. And not just been at it, but you've spoken at it.
Well, that's it. And from what I can gather, this gentleman's actually, he's sent some letters off to some people regarding this. And now that, but this sovereign citizen thing's come up again, which we know is a load of bullshit.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, because he's exposing a crime, which I thought was our duty, he's now an unfit person.
Yep.
And I said, well, first of all, define the word person. I'd be sending them a letter. Look, these people are just belligerently,
who is the arbiter of unfit, and how does he? Where does he get to put forward that argument that this person is unfit, and where does that person get to defend themselves? Oh no, it's a weapon. We don't have to, and that's what they've done in Queensland. They've done in Victoria. And I suspect they've done in New South Wales, as in any other state. South Australia is another one. I know of a. Okay. I don't think he'll mind if I talk about. No, I won't use his name. But somebody that's near and dear to the freedom movement came from Adelaide. His parents lived in Adelaide, or his father still lives in Adelaide. Now, both this young man, well, the whole family were shooters, registered shooters. And they had a number of weapons, but they were, target shooters. They're not out, shooting koalas or anything silly. Now, the mother was probably the best shooter in the family. She had a number of weapons. Unfortunately, she got sick, so sick that she passed away. Now, all her weapons and a great deal of the ammunition went to a gunsmith and a gun safe for safe storage, because this gentleman's father didn't have a gun license anymore and didn't, knew he shouldn't have them in the house. The son also had a gun license and had 3 rifles registered to the address, but were also at a gunsmith or a gun safe, and not on the property. But they found 2 22 caliber shells at the back of a drawer somewhere in the in the knicker drawer of the lady who'd passed away. And then they used that to seize all the weapons, take and suspend the gun license of the young man was still fully licensed but working over here on the East Coast, not even near his guns, but they suspended his gun license, all because that young man happens to drive a truck that got pulled up in Canberra, and we're still fighting to get back.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
and it's ongoing. The harassment in South Australia is phenomenal. So yes,
I hope everyone's keeping really good records of every single person's involved in this chain of corruption and fraud, because when the tide turns, they're going to be they're going to be changed to the bottom of the pier.
Yeah. Listen, while I think of it, can you hang on after we finish this chat tonight? I want to talk to you about something else off the air if I can.
Yeah.
So my place, making a big footprint, a big imprint around the country. I must get, I don't know, a dozen emails a week from people saying, where can I join? Who can I talk to? How do you become part of this? Or where do I set one up in my place? Or how do I set my place up at my place? So clearly you've found and been able to reach a point now where the community is ready and accepting, that they understand they need to start building something up in their local community. And my place has set the standard of what we should be aiming for. And that means it's not a race. There really is only one choice. And that's my place. With my place, think of the buying power that the supermarkets get. Well, just think of what you'll be able to do should all the My Places join together now. And what are they now? I imagine 170 plus?
Yeah, about that. And we've got our newbie Zoom coming up Monday night. We've got 18 or 19 going to be on that Zoom for a bit of an introductory about it and a discussion. And I mean, we've got a few groups that are struggling a little bit and a few problems which we're trying to sort out. But look, that's all the journey that everyone's on, learning how to work with each other and iron out those bugs. But no, generally speaking, we're still powering ahead. We are growing, and we're traversing all the time. We're traversing to new knowledge and new positions. And new people that are coming on board. We've got some really smart people. A friend of ours that came. Actually, I had Tim Dwyer here this week.
I saw a sellout gig.
Yeah, sellout. Yeah, we had 130 people jammed in, and
great.
You could basically see people levitating out of their seats with empowerment. We also had Craig Oldroyd here, who's obviously working with Ulikai down from Darwin, and Shuey and a few others, and it was. Yeah, I mean, the mood and the vibe in the room was just really, really good. And, I met with Tim at 10 o'clock that morning. Darren Dixon was supposed to come down as well, but he couldn't. He's had to go to Hobart. And he's doing the affidavits for our court case against the Yarra Rangers Council that's coming up on the 3rd of August.
Yeah, so people might not be across that. We only touched on it briefly last time. I think the documentation had only just been lodged, but council now have received all that documentation, and that is effectively an injunction on council, isn't it?
It is kind of. It's forcing them to open up their public chamber again, so that we can go to council meetings, and the fact that we're allowed to film, and also to pretty much put a stop or a halt to them rolling out more infrastructure on smart cities, and also to open up public consultation again, because when they had the original public consultation, they announced it in December, right? And so we're all through the school holidays, and they closed it off in February. So people had about a 2-week period where they could actually consult about it. No one knew about it. So they're forcing them to, and now they've put it off. They were going to decide on this in mid-year, in July. Or June. Now, because of this court case and the what's been lodged, they've actually put that back now, and they said they're not going to make a decision on this before September. So we had the initial hearing a couple of weeks ago now, I think it was. It was a teleconference hearing, but it was established that they've put aside one day, Thursday the 3rd of August, to hear this in court, in the Supreme Court in Victoria, and they've got a backup day for the Friday the 4th as well, if it goes into a second day. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks as well. I've got my own court case coming up on the 1st of August, with the council rates, so there's lots going on.
Yeah, mate, it's a big month by the sound of it, August for you.
Yeah.
What's your expectation with your case?
Look, they've kind of gone backwards. The hearing was in March originally, which I got adjourned. Then we had the hearing in June on the 9th, and I went in with all my stuff, and now it's gone back to a special mention. So they've only put aside half an hour Tuesday. I think it's the first Tuesday, the 1st at 2 p.m. To listen and work out how long we need to set aside for the hearing or the contest. I'll be asking for 2 days. I've got 406 pages of supporting affidavit of a 398-page constitutional matter. So I've got a fair bit of information. I just sent that through actually to the court and the solicitor again today. So they're up, got all the updated stuff. So, yeah, that's coming up as well. But, yeah, lots going on, mate.
Well, it certainly sounds like you got your hands full. That's bloody decent. John Wilson and I are off to Coffs Harbour tomorrow for the Mega Rally, so that'll be pretty good. There's a lot of freedom sentiment happening on the Central Coast, so looking forward to going and spread the message down there a bit too. And hang around. I've got a little bit more to tell you about. So just give me a minute here to wrap this up, and I'll share a few things with you. So stick around. Thanks for popping in, by the way. Appreciate it. Say hi to Anna.
I will say hello to Anna for you, and say hello to Laura too. And I'm pretty happy with the news you got the other week, which we've already discussed. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But I got one of the guys that's working with the crew over at Yarra Rangers who filmed the guys serving that paperwork. He was actually in the CEO's office. He's friends with the CEO of the Epoch Times. So we're going to be getting a bit of a spread
insider info
as well.
Yeah, great. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's very good. All right, well, stick around. I'll share some more with you shortly. Folks, I did say tonight was going to be a bit of a quick one. I want to just sort of leave you with this story about a UK minister. Now, these are stories that you wouldn't ordinarily expect to be coming out, particularly from the UK being so supportive as they are of the Ukraine. But the quote here is that Zelensky and co from Ukraine are not very thankful for all this weaponry that they're being donated by countries around the world. And in fact, this particular UK minister was greeted at a personal meeting one day and handed a list of the weaponry that they wanted the UK to give them. And his reply was, "We are not Amazon. You can't just roll up and get whatever you want." Zelensky didn't quite understand that and seems to think that there might be a bit of a breakdown in communications, because he was of the opinion that he could get anything he wanted from anybody he wanted. Also interesting, Australia has definitively pushed back against his request for our 51 tanks and however many aircraft, and not just any aircraft, just all our fighter aircraft, to be sent to Ukraine. So Albanese grew some balls somewhere, or at least somebody wound him up fast enough and programmed him well enough to say it, that they're not getting that. But didn't stop him sending another $110 million their way. I think that brings our total contribution at the moment to, that would bring it to a bit under $800 million, I think, so far. So, yeah, not real flash at all. All right, folks, I did say tonight was going to be a bit quick because I do have to get a whole heap of stuff to get myself sorted for tomorrow morning's early start and get Mr. Wilson down to Coffs Harbour safe and sound, and then back again. Anybody know what happened to Aussie Cossack? Marty wants to know. To be honest, Marty, I haven't heard a word from Aussie Cossack since just after he went into the Russian consulate. I did hear that he had his YouTube channel taken down. I heard he was appealing that. I don't know if he got it back or not. I think he was starting up something else. But no, I have no idea. As far as I'm aware, he is still inside the Russian consulate in Sydney. I know, or I think somebody told me at least, that he was going to be issued some form of asylum in Russia should they want to jump on a plane and go there, but I'm not actually sure that they have. Oh, yeah, Starseed is saying Cossack is in the motherland, so maybe that is the case. I don't know. I don't know. Jacqueline, what's going on with you? Please help us animal rescuers by telling their family and friends to make plans for their animals if they pass away. What a bloody good idea. Not many of us make provision for our animals, I suppose, particularly in the event of our sudden demise. If, we're ill for a period of time and there's animals involved, the family generally sorts those sorts of things out. Hopefully to the betterment of the animal, or at least not to the detriment of the animal. But yeah, I guess it is something that, particularly if you've got jabbed family members who might be getting sicker more than usual or more regularly than usual, or who just can't seem to get over that cold, or, who always seem to have a bit of problem with their lungs, or their heart rate's going a bit fast, or they have a blood clot or a stroke or whatever. There are so many different things. Bear in mind that everything is being blamed on whatever this new or some other obscure potential cause might be. Nobody is laying the blame squarely where it needs to be. And I would suggest better than 90% of the cases, and that is squarely with the shit that got jabbed into them. That would be my take on that 100%. All right, folks, going to shoot off. I've had a very, very long day with stuff. Been down the Gold Coast for most of the day, and driving in some of that traffic can be just a little bit taxing around the Gold Coast. Aussie Sue's looking for some tips on high blood pressure. Came to give the first BP time was 165/95. Second one was 149/108. Don't want to go to the doctors. Leave that with me, Aussie Sue. I happen to know a bloke who might be a doctor, but isn't called that anymore. Might be able to find out something for you, but just sit down, have a rest, take a load off, have a beer maybe. Don't go gallivanting around carrying on too much. Keep whatever fellas around you calm, because 165/95. Just go easy. We love you. We would miss you terribly from here if something happened to you. So if anybody has any of those suggestions, please pass them along in the chat or email me, carl@vofhq.com, and I will make sure that Aussie Sue gets your feedback. I will also see if I can't ask that aforementioned gentleman. Kristen, I don't know if Darren still can hear me or not. He's got his camera blanked at the moment, and he might have walked away. But if he can, Darren, he's still here. Righto, mate. Question here. Could you please ask Darren about 3 women living on acreage and the Sunshine Coast Council telling them to get off? You're still muted, mate, I think. Oh, no, you're back. Yep.
Yeah, I did see that. We've posted that on My Place Facebook groups as well. I don't know who these people think they are. I mean, whether they want them living in the streets. They won't be happy till everyone's on the streets, totally homeless. I mean, it's just pathetic. And I would hope that the people up there were jumping up and down about that. And I certainly wouldn't be leaving, and if it was my property, I certainly wouldn't be telling them to stay put. I mean, these people have absolutely no authority whatsoever to tell you where you can and can't live on private property. I would say fuck off.
Absolutely. And there are many people who are doing it. Councils everywhere are trying to shift them on, by the way. Sunshine Coast Council the other day issued orders on a property that has a very large house, got a ton of acreage. It has 3 tiny homes on it. And they've been issued orders to get the 3 single mothers off and out of those properties, get them out of the tiny homes, get the tiny homes moved or pulled down. And when you go to councils and ask them for their reasoning behind this, they give you a whole heap of bullshit that essentially amounts to they can't look after the garbage that that amount of people are going to generate. That's the excuse that it really boils down.
And that's exactly what it is, garbage.
Yeah, absolute crap.
It's similar to what the council down here did in Frankston. I don't know if you remember. I know probably nearly 12 months ago now, where they were going to evict and get tow trucks into the homeless that were living in their cars at the bottom of Oliver's Hill at the boat ramp.
Yep.
There was probably eight guys, all in their own cars, living down there together, safe. And they were organised tow trucks to come and pick them up and move them on. I mean, these councils just have absolutely no empathy whatsoever. They're, we know they're controlled and they're only puppets, but at some point, your moral compass has got to kick in and actually solve a problem rather than just moving it on somewhere else.
Yep, exactly. Kirsten's got the right idea. Kirsten, I don't know if you are on the Sunshine Coast, but I know that there are a lot of people who don't agree with this kind of thing too, but there are a lot of people living a very comfortable life on the Sunshine Coast. It's got everything the Gold Coast has except for the high rise and the bullshit. A lot of people really enjoy their lifestyle there. So I don't know how a tiny home out in the Sunshine Coast hinterland on acreage is going to affect them. But I think it's more a case of laziness. Until the problem actually affects them personally, then they don't really care about it. So, yes, uniting the My Places, because, there must be 4 of them up there by now.
Around the Sunshine Coast, we've got a whole group. Camillo and Greg and the guys in Gympie.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all kind of working together now and joining up. There's probably half a dozen in that area.
That's awesome. So we'll be going up there in a couple of weeks to do a show with them, I hope. So I probably just sprung that on them, but we're coming. Every council area will be doing this. So what do we go to council meetings? Do we start petitions to be going in and dropping them over the desk at admin? How do we let council know that this shit has to stop?
Certainly going to council meetings, and you don't have to go in there and be abusive. You just need to sit there and let them know that we are going to be there, and we're going to be there until they're gone. And we're going to scrutinise everything they do. We're going to call it out. We're going to expose them for who they are. We're going to inform the rest of the population and the public. And there's a whole host of letters that Tim Dwyer's developed over the last 3 months that we've all been sending. Withdrawal of consent to keep my images under the Surveillance Act. They're breaking that act. And also the mayor's CEOs and putting them on notice and giving them the knowledge of treason and the knowledge of who they actually are and who they're not. And all it is just putting them all on the hook so that when the time comes, they've had fair warning. They've been, they can't claim ignorance, which is no defence anyway. But they, there's a lot of councillors now that and mayors that are stepping down, and councillors that aren't going to run in the next election. So that's a good thing. But we just got to keep the pressure up, and we've got to be in their face, and that's not verbally or physically. It's mentally. You're there, and you are having an effect every time that we fill those chambers.
Absolutely, mate, and it's hard to be ignored when there are enough of you in the room. It's not that you've got to make noise, but just your presence, and just stare at them. Make them know that they are going to be accountable. And I don't know how you wake up everybody in your local town or local area for councils, but and I know a lot of people aren't interested in local government, local council issues. The only thing they think about them for is they've got to pay the rates to them, and what a pain in the ass that is. And the only other time people think about council is when there's a pothole out in front of their street or a raised bit of cement on the footpath or something. We have to think much more about who we put into those positions, because we need our councils to be much more than pothole fillers and garbage collectors. And I think what you're growing with My Place is exactly what the future holds for councils in every area. Communities looking after each other. And once your community's looked after, you'll help the one beside you. It'll help the one beside it. It'll spread.
Yep. And the knowledge that it's not voting. We've got to... I heard this actually Wednesday night from another gentleman that was at our event, and he basically said that in 1988, when they had the referendum for Local Government Act, that referendum had nothing to do, wasn't about bringing in local government. It was purely to contract every single person that voted yes or no, didn't matter which way you voted, but just that act of voting contracted you to the corporation, to the corporate government, and basically gave them credentials that they're true and correct. And from what I can gather with the voice, it's the same thing again this time around. All right, we've got a whole 3 more generations of people that they need to contract to a deeper level, and it's about every time you vote, you are legitimising an unlawful authority.
Yep, 100%. Jacqueline wants us to get the message out to people through My Place that to have plans in place for their animals. Jacqueline owns an animal sanctuary in Victoria and is been run off her feet since the jab started, or more particularly the consequences of the jab started. So a lot of people are dying unexpectedly and leaving animals, everything from horses and larger to cats and dogs. So she wants us to get the message out for people to make plans for their animals, try and sort them, house them with family, get that sort of thing happening. Or maybe you're going to have to look at some sort of sanctuary or adoption process. And I'm not sure. I think Jacqueline's is a sanctuary as well. I'm not sure if she adopts out from there or not. I did make the mistake once with Sandy saying that you could have a donkey. You can't. If she gets the donkey, you don't get a donkey back off her. They're her donkeys then. She looks after them for the rest of their lives.
That's a big task. That's a big task.
No, she will help out if you really need a donkey. But she and Baz get very attached to the donkeys. And I've been there. It's very, very understandable how you get attached to them. They are just amazing animals and amazing guard animals. Did you know that?
No, not a donkey, no.
Yep. So donkeys, if you've got sheep, cattle, goats, anything little like that, not so much cattle, but goats, donkeys are highly protective, and they will protect the little ones every time, and are quite vicious. So they get used quite a lot to keep wolf packs away in America. Particularly where they've been re-released back into Yellowstone. There are areas where the wolves are getting out of Yellowstone Park, and they're putting donkeys in to patrol them or keep herds safe. So yeah, patrol donkeys. Who knew? There you go.
Well, we've got one of those, and look, not to discredit or make light of the great work that Jacqueline's doing, but we've got one of those sanctuaries in Spring Street, but I think it's full to the brim.
Very good, very good. And on that note, good night.
All right, mate. See ya.
See you, brother. Hang on. Folks, love you and leave you. With that note, we'll leave it on a laugh. I hope you have a really great weekend. There will be some lives, as I say, tomorrow, particularly. The old pirate might get a hold of my phone on the way down and do a bit of a chat. You never know. And that will be on the YouTube Nun2K channel. NUNN, the number 2, the letter K. Like and subscribe, if you would, please, to that channel if you're not already watching it. It just tends to piss off YouTube a bit more when people like to keep watching it. And I think I get 1 in about every 1,000 people that click like or subscribe by the looks of it. So I'm fairly well suppressed all over. If you are coming to Coffs Harbour, come up and say hi. You'll find us wandering around. Well, John, not so much. He'll just set up and hold court somewhere. I'll be floating around. Love to sit down and have a chat. If you've got a story to tell, I'm happy to hear it. So look forward to seeing you, folks. It's going to be an interesting weekend. If you are on the roads, stay away from this dickhead who's going to be on them.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?